those who don't know me, I'm Karen Dion. I write psychological suspense set in Michigan's Upper Peninsula wilderness, and my novels have been international bestsellers. The Marsh King's Daughter and The Wicked Sister are the two that are out, and translated into 27 languages. I did a count today, so that was very cool. And then The Marsh King's Daughter, as we often say here at the back room, is soon to be a major motion picture starring Daisy Ridley and Ben Mendelsohn. Thank you, David. I say soon. We've been saying soon for forever. There's still no release date, but yeah, it's coming sometime in 2022. So that's the big excitement for me. And now our guest for the night, the reason we're all here. Alex Finlay is the author of the 2021 breakout novel, Every Last Fear. And the accolades for this novel was just astounding. His work has been an Indie Next pick, a Library Read selection, an Amazon Editor's Best Thriller, as well as a CNN, Newsweek, E!, BuzzFeed, Business Week, Parade, Pop Sugar, Scribd, and Reader's Digest Best or Most Anticipated Thrillers of the Year. Alex's novels have been translated into 17 languages, and Every Last Fear is in development for a major television series. And he added in his bio that he defied the dreaded sophomore slump with his new book, The Night Shift, which has done even better than Every Last Fear. So Alex, I officially hate you for that, because I did experience the sophomore slump. Okay. Next up, we have Gar Anthony Haywood. And he says he is the answer to the question, what 30-year veteran of hard-boiled crime suddenly decided to write a long-form work of Christian fiction that defies almost every rule of the genre? Doesn't that sound interesting? That's his new novel, In Things Unseen. It published just this last November, too. Oh, and I should have said for Alex, The Night Shift published March 1 of this year. So these are both new books. Well, Gar is the Seamus and Anthony award-winning author of 14 novels and dozens of short stories. His crime fiction includes the Aaron Gunner Private Eye series and Joe and Dottie Loudermilk mysteries. I love the names. Those are awesome. And so, yes, and besides In Things Unseen, which published November 2, he co-edited with Gary Phillips a short story anthology, Witnesses for the Dead, which is going to be published in upcoming November. Now we have Chris Pavone. He's the author of 5 international thrillers, beginning with the instant bestseller, The Expats. He's winner of both the Edgar and Anthony Awards, and most recently he wrote the novel Two Nights in Lisbon. Two Nights in Lisbon looks like a thriller about a man who goes missing while on a business trip to Portugal, and his new wife's desperate attempts to find him. But it turns out the book is something else entirely. Doesn't that sound intriguing? And Chris's novels have been on bestseller lists, New York Times, USA Today, Wall Street Journal. They are in development for film and TV and have been translated into 24 languages. Chris grew up in Brooklyn, and he worked as a book editor for nearly 2 decades before he turned to writing. And then he lives in New York City. And lastly, we have David Yoon. He's the New York Times bestselling author of Frankly in Love, Super Fake Love Song. Those are for young adults. For adult readers, he's the author of Version 0 and his latest, City of Orange. Hold up the book. I know you've got it.
I know. I got it right here.
There we go. We have to have our visual aids, right? He's a William C. Morris Award finalist and an Asian Pacific American Award for Young Adult Literature honor book recipient. And this is interesting. He's co-publisher of Joy Revolution, which is a Random House young adult imprint dedicated to love stories starring people of color. He's also co-founder of Yooniverse, Y-O-O-N, Universe Media, which currently has a first look deal with anonymous content for film and TV development. He grew up in Orange County, California, lives in Los Angeles with his wife, novelist Nicola Yoon, and their daughter. So thank you all so much, all of you wonderful authors. I just can't believe that we get to talk to 4 of you. A normal book event would be just one author at a time. So you guys have been awesome to come here tonight. So the next little part of our program, we want you, we meaning Hank and I, we want you to get to know these authors a little bit instead of just going into the breakout room and not knowing a little bit about them. So we have our game, we call it 20 questions. It's really 12 because 20 is, that would take the whole evening, right? It would be fun though. And, we have official cards, official questions. And so I'm going to ask the questions in the order I see everyone on the screen, which has Alex up first. And you get the hardest question of all. Is your desk messy or tidy?
It is tidy because it's the only area in my life I can really control. I tidy it every morning. It feels just something about it makes me feel like, all right, now I can move on to the day.
I like that. Mine gets tidied about every other month. So, yeah, very good. So the next question is for Chris. Where do you write?
I tend to not write at home. I've always been very bad at working at home. I've written all 5 of my novels and ghostwritten 2 books and written book proposals. I've written more than 1 million words that have been published at a members club in downtown New York, where I go every morning and treat it as an office. And I spend my workday there, which is from 8 or 8:30 in the morning until I get hungry or I write enough, at which point I leave for the day. And I've been doing that now for 15 years.
That's really awesome. So you separate out your writing from the business side of the business, right? You go down.
Well, I leave my home. I put on real clothes and real shoes, and I get on the subway and I commute, and I go to a place where if anybody that I knew walked by my computer and saw that I was on Instagram or that I was shopping for a new stock pot, I would be humiliated. And so it keeps me focused on, I have to be working here. Otherwise, I run the risk of looking like a slacker.
That's awesome. I think
shame is a powerful motivator.
Nice. Gar, this is a question for you. What's the best thing that happened to you today?
Of course. What kind of question is that? This is the highlight of my life right now. I don't know. That's a good question. I think I watched an old Dallas Cowboys San Francisco 49ers game, 1994 NFC Championship, and I hate both teams, so it was really enjoyable to watch because one of them was bound to lose. So I had a really good time. That would be, other than this event, of course, that would be the highlight of my life. And just to participate in the visual aspect of this program, here's the book that Gary and I co-edited.
Oh, nice. Very good.
So this will be out very shortly.
Looks awesome. Yeah. Short stories are great. David, what's your current obsession?
My current obsession, I just got an e-bike for Father's Day. You know what that is? It's a bike with a big battery and a motor in it. And it basically flattens, it makes hills irrelevant. If you get tired, you just let the bike do its thing. And I'm obsessed. I just went for like a 30-mile bike ride this morning to the beach and back. And it's like a game changer because, I'm 50 and the warranty expires when you turn 50 and everything just starts falling apart. So I want to keep my knees the way they are.
But right now, we have asked all of the authors to bring a book recommendation, something that they've read recently that just, blew them away and they think everyone should read. So Alex, let's start with your recommendation.
All right. Well, first, I'm not sucking up, but it is Chris's book, 2 Nights in Lisbon, that I most recently read and thought was just a knockout. I told him this at Thriller Fest. My wife and I have this weird thing where we listen to an audiobook, but also have the hard copy, and we kind of split between the two. But I thought it was, Chris is obviously a talented writer, but the story makes you want to go to Lisbon. It also, he's really a master at flipping point of views really just seamlessly. So I thought it was great. There's a lot of books, and whenever we all know a lot of writers, so it's always kind of one of these things like, well, which book am I going to pick? But of the recent ones I've read, I've also just to cheat, I'm going to say a friend of mine, Julie Clark, has a really great book out last week, The Lies I Tell. So.
Nice. All right. Very
Thank
good.
you.
Yeah.
That's very nice of you.
Sure.
Now, Chris, you need to recommend Alex's book,
Yes,
right?
definitely. And I'm going to transcribe it for the
That would
jacket of my
unfortunately
next one.
obviously be disingenuous at this point. I have to recommend Mercy Street by Jennifer Hay. And you asked for these recommendations a couple of weeks ago, I think. And if anything has changed for me since Friday's Supreme Court decision, it's that I think that this book is actually required reading for everyone at this point. This is a fantastic novel about the abortion wars, and it is set in a clinic in Boston, and it does such a spectacular job of representing disparate points of view, including those with which the author particularly disagrees. And I sort of love writing people who I dislike, and I love creating characters in order to dump on them. But she has done the opposite in this book. It's creating characters with whom she passionately, obviously disagrees as a human being, but nevertheless portraying them as full people and giving the sort of full breadth of this issue room to breathe in a story. And it also, despite everything I just said, happens to be possibly the funniest book I've read in the past decade. And there's a page in the middle of it that I will turn to again and again and again when I just need to laugh. It cracks me up from the top of the page to the bottom.
Sorry, what's it called again? I need to get this book now.
Mercy Street by Jennifer Hay.
Mercy Street. Okay.
Okay. I know, that's the power of a recommendation, right? Gar, what book are you recommending tonight?
Well, I'm going to be one of a million people that has raved about this book, but Blacktop Wasteland by S.A. Cosby, Sean Cosby. This book is just absolutely brilliant. And he's written a new one that I haven't quite gotten to yet. But I mean, this book, as a reader, what you're looking for is virgin territory. You're looking for a book that you've never read before and doesn't remind you of anything else or anyone else. And that's what he's done here. I mean, it's a brilliant book. The characters are, full-bodied and original and unique. And everything you could want in a thriller is in Blacktop Wasteland. So there are probably a number of people on this call that have heard people rave about it and thought, how could the book be that good? Trust me, this book is really that good. Blacktop Wasteland, S.A. Cosby.
I love that book too. I mean, Anna's doing.
Yeah, thanks. That's the best description I've heard of why it got all the attention that it did. That's awesome. Thank you. And David.
I got to recommend this book. It's 1,000 Crimes of Ming Su by Tom Lin. This is a Western, and I'm not like a Western dude, and it's about this it's set in, the Western time in 1800 something. And it's about this Chinese American railroad worker who goes on a revenge mission to kill all the men who'd done him wrong. And this guy, Tom Lin, we did an event together. He's like 27, and you just want to kick him in the face because he's so young, and his writing is outstanding. Like the nature writing is, you're there. Like I can't really describe it. I would put it down, and I'd call Nikki over and be like, just listen, and I would read from it, and she'd be like, dude, it was astonishing.
Wasn't that fun? We hope you enjoyed this taste of what a backroom event is like. The best part comes immediately after, when the audience is divided into 4 breakout rooms and the authors visit each room in turn. We'd love to show you what a breakout session is like, because these relaxed face-to-face conversations between authors and readers are the hallmark of our backroom events. But breakout sessions are never recorded. What's said in the backroom stays in the backroom.